Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen. Here we are for round 8 of the Trackstars TS2 touring cars. We are live from the sunny, uh, very spectacular Mount Panorama. Here we are, 2 hours, 2 and a bit hours west of Sydney. The lovely 6.213 kilometre circuit. 40 laps incoming. I think it's going to be a bit of an interesting race. And as always, joined with me in the com box, we have Nick Patasso. Welcome, my friend.
Yes, DJ, welcome along to you here at the glorious Mount Panorama, the virtual world of Bathurst, for what is going to be an exciting Bathurst 250. Next weekend, actually, is going to be the official real world Bathurst 1000 weekends that we're all excited for. And then again, the following week is going to be the Trackstars Touring Cars version of the 160 lap event that is known as Bathurst 1000 on the Gran Turismo 7 platform. I'm excited for the next 2 weekends, but I'm also excited for tonight for the Bathurst 250. Some capable drivers that can feature in this race here tonight, and we've got a few names that that can be very key contenders for this 40 lap check to conquer the mountain and complete this event in 40 laps as the victor by the end of it. So we've got some good names here. We've got Green, we've got Dallards, we've got Curry, we've got so many other names. We've got Sandwith as well. I remember you saying in the last stream that you were going to predict Sandwith to be the man that would be leading the way or be a contender for victory tonight here, Ryan.
Yeah, I did. Obviously, that It's Racing Honda did struggle at High Speed Ring, which it was predicted that would happen because obviously the car does struggle in a straight line. So, unfortunately, he was a little bit down on pace there, but he still put in a solid job. Still the championship leader currently over Crestdale, but the person I think we need to watch out for is Green. So he obviously won the High Speed Ring enduro that they had, and the question is, can he go 2 in a row if they're enduros, or will someone else stop him? Obviously the likes of Dallas, Sandwith, or Curry, as we had Lamb just joined the lobby late, so we'll cancel qualifying after the end of it, set the grid, and then he'll start from the back. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting 40 laps here. I'm ready. Little bit of a change of format from last year. Obviously we had safety cars, heavy damage, stuff like that, but we figured we'd give everyone the most amount of running time. So same as always, light damage, and yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. I'm excited.
Absolutely. I mean, it gets to this point at the stream here, Ryan, where usually I just leave you alone and you can just commentate the whole Bathurst event. And and here we are on board with Mitch Curry for Robo Sport Racing. So knowing you're the Bathurst expert. Why don't you take us on for a lap here, as piloted by Mitch Curry? Explain to us the characteristics of this 6.213 kilometre circuit.
Oh, might as well. We know the deal. But here we had it. He's just gone through Griffin's Bend, gone through Hill Corner at turn 1. It's about 800 meters from turn 1 to turn 2. Gone through Cutting, turn 4 there, up into turn 5, into Reed and Sulman. You've got to make sure you get a really good line here. Up through Sulman Park, coming into Quarry, onto the Great. You want to go all the way over to the right-hand side. Perfect run there from practice. I'm pretty sure it's all flat. Over the Vista, on the run to Skyline, as formerly known, Brock Skyline, from the great, the legend, Peter Brock. Rest in peace to him. I think it is like 12 years or something like that. But, Curry getting really sketchy on the exit of the dipper there, unfortunately. Didn't have a good run. Coming into the elbow, he will abort that lap, unfortunately. Let the tyres cool down and go again. But he's in the middle of traffic, so I think he might just pull over. So I'll jump on with Mason, who's in front of him. So coming down Conrod, I think it's about 1.1 kilometre circuit. It's one of the longest straights in all of Australia with the races. You want to go to the left here, into the kink, on the run into the Chase. The Chase never used to exist, but the Chase then got later implemented due to obviously the cars getting faster, and unfortunately I do know that someone did pass away. Coming into Hell's Corner, turn 23, tighten those belts, mate. Oh, geez, runs really deep there. It's not what you really want. But, yeah, 23 circuits, 6.213 Ks here, mate. I don't know about you, but every lap around here, I'm on the edge of my seat, even, spectating, driving. I think driving's a little bit worse because I'm just so tight and stressed. I'm just like, geez, is it over yet?
There you go, exactly. And as we saw by those two drivers, very well demonstrated by both Curry and Mason, how difficult it is to execute a full lap around here, just to really find their grip, the edge of the grip limit that you can get in these GT 500s, both Nissan GTR, Lexus RCF, and the Honda NSX, all 2016 model spec Group 2 cars. It's very hard to find that limit and find a threshold that you can get to navigate around the track. So both Mason and Curry will have to try again, set another lap, but there's still a lot of time here. Less than 5 minutes to go. It is Green leading the way over Dallas and Sandwith, the first of the Hondas in P5. I believe the first of the Lexus drivers is Purton up in P6 with Aussie Taylor not far behind. A couple of new names joining us here in the Split 1 lobby is Bryce Kentwell in P8 in Fly Balding. So this is actually his first appearance in the TS2 top split. And with his good mate in Severi ahead of him, who joined the top split last week, is now back in it. So 2 in a row for Severi. So good on him, and good for CP Motorsports to get their names up into that top split. If we saw Green improve his lap there, I believe it was a 1 minute 53.9. So that's the first drivers in the 1 minute 59. It's very close time, and right behind is Jarman Dalitz with a 1 minute 54 flat. So very close quarters between those two, and really gapped Sandwith down. Sandwith holding on to P3, just getting his nose ahead of Aussie Taylor, who actually did improve his lap on that last one. So still finding his feet, and I will say he is actually proving to be a bit of an underdog here. But speaking of underdogs, Mitch Curry has now got into provisional pole position with a 1 minute 53.5. So obviously a much better lap there for Mitch Curry to get 4/10 over his rival in green.
Yeah, definitely, and thank you, Brian. I do apologise. I did mix up the names between Murray's Corner and Hell Corner. I
wasn't going to say it.
For some reason, I thought, I don't know why, but yeah, I must have mixed them up. But I've never done that in the past. But no, thanks, Brian, and apologies for that. But yeah, Curry set a good lap. I was in a practice lobby with him earlier, and he actually set a 53 dead. But that the wind was a different direction, so it was currently a headwind into 1, where they've got a crosswind. Sorry, headwind into turn 2, but now they've currently got a tailwind coming into the S's. So that's really going to cause quite a lot of issues for them drivers coming over the top. Sitting in that tailwind, you're going to have to brake a little bit earlier, because coming down there, it'll really unsettle the rear of the car. It'll pick it up, and then it'll like offset it, and yeah, just creates a lot of havoc there. So yeah, they are pushing that. Curry's setting a 53.5 pretty early on, and Green, you know, I wouldn't count him out. He had a really good strategy at high speed ring. I think he did end up getting damage, so he pitted early, and then yeah, got on the back of Curry, passed him, and then from what I remember, Curry forgot to save fuel, so he did have to save fuel while Green was in front of him. So yeah, that was a bit unfortunate there, but you know, we don't say you have to save fuel, you're not allowed to, anything like that, so it's up to the drivers. But just under 2 minutes to go. Sandwith betters his lap with a 54.5, so a little bit closer, but not quite yet. But you know, some drivers are faster in the race than they are in qualifying, e.g. myself. So, you know, I wouldn't count out Sandwith just yet. 40 laps, anything can happen, because it's a very long race.
Absolutely. So the top 3 occupied by the Nissan GTR as the first of the Hondas in Sandwith for FR Racing. Aussie Taylor, the first of the Lexus for WTC Racing. Right behind him is Breeder in 6th, Hedges 7th, and we have Van Vooveren as another Honda driver for Kiwi Pit Lane in 8th place. So very nice performance there by the Kiwi team, led by Van Vooveren and Mason. Unfortunately, they couldn't get their third driver in, otherwise it would have been an all-out Kiwi pit lane affair, and that would have been really nice to see those guys up there. As we see Purton escaping down through Hell Corner. Very easy to do there. Ryan picked up some damage on his side of things, but also you really just want to, either just want to outbrake yourself, or you just want to get as far right as you can without clipping the grass, just to really open up that entry going into the first corner and opening the exit as well, to just get that throttle down as quickly as you can. So here's Green coming on the exit of the chase. Can he improve his lap time? I don't remember seeing any greens next to his name.
Yeah, I think he was down through sector 1, so he's probably just setting up for this lap here. So he'd want to be, yeah.
One last chance for Green and for CP Motorsports. Took the victory from last place, all the way from last place at the high speed ring to come through with the ultimate strategy into P1 at the end of it, as reported by Ryan, and as seen in the broadcast, all about getting into the right position at the right time. He had the pace, but obviously no qualifying, no practice, and the man did it from last to first. Can he do it again? But at least higher up on the grid, there's currently sitting P4. Sandwith just improved his lap time into the 1 minute 53s now, but he's still 4 tenths behind Curry, and also Dallas improved his lap time as well, so they're not too far ahead. It's quite close between the top 4 there. We have Van Vuveren has just improved his lap time. He's a second behind Green, so I feel like it's going to be between the top 4 that's going to claim pole position up through McPhillip Park. Get a good view up ahead, because then straight away you have to go down through the Brock's skyline into the S's and then into the dip. He's 4 tenths down, so it might not be the lap for him, unfortunately, unless he can find some sort of pace in this last section of the track. Through Forest Elbow for the last time. Runs it a little bit wide there, loses speed there, so I think that could be the end of his run there, Ryan.
Yeah, that it's not hard to do, to be honest. It's very, very easy. You just get on the brakes there, and because it's obviously downhill, down 4 tenths, down 8 tenths, unfortunately, doesn't look like Green's going to better his lap. But as I said, don't count Green out. Anything is possible here. 40 laps, it's going to be a long race. But yeah, that tailwind down there as well, I think that's going nearly into the elbows. So yeah, look, honestly, it's not going to be hard to... I think we're going to see a couple of cars go off here. Obviously not commentator's curse, but with the wind and the practice laps that I've put in so far, and just helping some of the TS2 boys out, it's definitely...
This could be a good lap.
Ooh.
It's an improvement, I just saw it there. It was closing. It was really closing there. Only 0.069. What about Sandwith? He's well down. Yeah, well down there. So Curry just holds it on by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, but not only that, Van Vuveren, mate, he's come up into P5. This is his best performance at the that I've seen here in qualifying too. So he's just in front of Aussie Taylor and Ed. So Ed was a late entry here. He wasn't here until probably 2 or 3 minutes before we went into qualifying. So yeah, that was a bit interesting. But Gordok as well, up into P8, obviously coming off the back of running in the Kyoto 500 alongside Oslo Reaper. So yeah, that was an interesting one, but yeah, I think I'm excited for here. But you know, early on, who do you have your monopoly money on, good sir?
Oh, it's going to be a tricky one. It's going to be very tricky to pick out who will be on pole position. Sorry, who's taken pole position was Mitch Curry, but I think the man that could win at the end of the 40 laps, I'm not so sure, to be honest, because I think you have to play it in a way of strategy, of the strategy game, you know, like we saw Green last time out. Obviously, you know, no qualifying, no practice, and still came through from last to first to take the victory. I mean, we just saw Lamb enter the lobby. He's been talking to me in the background over the past week that he's been picking up some pace and getting quicker. So I mean, I'm not going to rule out Lamb getting onto the podium at the end of it, but I think I'm going to have to stick with the guns here and might have to go back on your theory. And I think potentially Sandwith could cause an upset here tonight. I think he could definitely pick up his first race victory here in Trackstars TS2. And I have a feeling that Honda could potentially be on the top step of the podium. What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, it is. If anyone's going to do it, it's probably going to be Sandwith, but I wouldn't count out Green. He did a good strategy there. If he can get some clean air, I reckon he might be able to pull through something out of his hat. Obviously, we all know he's part of CP, and obviously you know who's part of CP Motorsports.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Oh, he's got himself a great team. He has a great team alongside him. He hasn't actually, but the interesting thing was, even though he ran the high speed ring 250, no one actually managed, or 150, sorry. No one actually managed to pick him up for the Kyoto 500. No one actually got him into the co-driver seat. So that was a big surprise. That Green couldn't participate, because with his form and, you know, with the form that he's got right now, with putting on a good show, unfortunately qualifying P4, not usually where we see him. We usually see him up towards the top two, even on pole position. But I guess in a way, you have to look at Curry. He's been quite dominant on this track here, especially in the Super Formula Series. This is his first time out in the tin tops in the Nissan GTR, and again, he still puts it on pole position. So, what is it with Curry and his actual performances here at Mount Panorama? Could it just be that he loves it? Is it just confidence around the track? Do you think he's been putting in the hours? What could it be?
I think he's putting in the hours, but not only that, it's Curry. Like he's probably someone. He came onto the scene that was late as well. You know, he's only been around for probably a year or so, but even then, he's definitely shown his potential. So I think as well, he's starting to get around the Nissan too. So obviously, not racing tin tops. He was only racing the formulas. He's a formula fiend. Um, but yeah, anything's possible. But I think he's starting to get his head around the car and what he's doing there. But notice in the chat there from them, they are 1 second off practice time, and for me, that's got to do with that tailwind over the top of the hill. So I think that's going to be playing a pretty big part here with the next 40 laps, especially with the dirty air and stuff too. So yeah, that's going to be not ideal at all for these drivers.
Absolutely, we've got a couple of people in the grandstand giving us their support. That Ward is supporting his man in Mitch Curry for the pole position, and he looks like he might be backing him for the victory tonight as well. So both Curry and Ward taking out P3 in the Kyoto 500 last weekend. So it's very good confidence for Mitch Curry just to get himself into that position last time out for the Kyoto 500, and now claiming pole position for the Bathurst 250. And also we have the legendary Matt Simmons, who took out the victory alongside yourself with the Kyoto 500. So yeah, definitely a close qualifying there, and we're expecting a close race here, Ryan. So I know you love Mount Panorama, and I know you are a fan, and everyone at home is always a fan of Mount Panorama, but I think for the first time here in this year, I'm going to let you take the reins for the race start, my friend.
Thank you. Alright, here we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the Bathurst 250, 40 laps here at Mount Panorama, the fantastic circuit, obviously anti-clockwise direction, first corner, majority turning left. We have 3 lights in, 4, 5, lights out, and away we go, as they say in Formula 1 here. Curry gets a good start there, Sandwith follows through into turn 1 here, on the inside of Jarman. Oh, can he get the run? He does. Jarman gets an unfortunate exit there out of turn 1, but Sandwith, the biggest mover at the moment, up into P3, P4.
With some incidents in the background there. We see Purton, Lamb and Breeder caught up in all of an incident there, so we'll have to see what's going on here. Trying to go 4 wide into turn 1 doesn't work. A little bit of congestion there. Not much they could have done there. It was just, unfortunately, just all the congestion between all the drivers there. And we've lost a few contenders there. I think, well, it looks like Reed was slightly down the order, but it looks like he's just got that position back into P4 side by side up going towards the cutting. That is brave from Aussie Taylor and Green to go side by side up going into the cutting. But it is still Curry leading the way. Dallas has gone back ahead of Sandwith in P3. Green 4th, Taylor 5. Van Booveren still holding on to P6 after not a great start. He did bog it down in the initial phase. Doc is up into P7, so that's a nice positive start for the man for WRT. Cantwell in 8th, Mason 9th, Hedges rounding up the top 10 with Severi 11th, Calypso 12th, Lamb after starting from the rear of the field in 13th place. Purton and Breeder all caught up in that incident on the first corner, so that'll be looked at by the stewards at the end of it. But so far, it is the man from Robo Sport Racing that will go into R&R Racing next year, leading the way by a comfortable 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, I think I did catch a little bit of someone on the inside on the grass at turn 1, which may have caused it. So, you know, they got on the ripple strip on the inside there and like possibly spun. So yeah, as always, we'll leave it up to the stewards there to look out for that one. But yeah, Curry's out to an early lead there. This is obviously one to say that clean air is key, but the question is, the other thing, strategy may come into play here, because they're not going to be able to make it on this tank of fuel. I think they will run out. So Plus, they have one mandatory pit stop to take a set of tyres. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Do you undercut? Do you overcut? Do you run short? Do you run long? Sandwith tries to go around the outside there, up into Griffin's Bend. Not sure that'd definitely work unless you're a bit of an overlap. But, yeah, that's... it's going to be definitely one here. You know, Green's hanging back, kind of seeing what's going on. But Aussie Taylor's on his way to get closer. Ooh, Van Vuren loses a position there. But Gordon... I think his name was in main series, but we'll just call him Doc. So he's up into P6. This looks like he's going to be one of his other good performances as well. So if it was you, Nick, what strategy would you play? You know, would you go short? Would you go long? Like how would you do it? Get out into clean air, like that kind of stuff.
To be honest, I think with the way that both Dallas and Sandwith are really working with each other, just pushing each other along, I would think about just running the same strategy that they would. You know, like you would, if you're looking at the car ahead. Obviously, they say in the old saying with Formula One is do the opposite of what the driver is doing in front of you. So if the driver ahead pits, you stay out one lap. If the driver doesn't pit, then you pit you pit on that lap, and then they will have to try to do the overcut, and you do the undercut. So, I mean, it's very interesting. It looks like Sandwith has just lost at least, what we could say, 1.5 seconds on that lap there. He was right on his rear wing. Was Sandwith, so a bit of a mistake maybe at the top of the hill. And same with Green, who's actually lost out a position to Aussie Taylor, so something we definitely missed out on, because we saw both Sandwith and Green right on the rear quarters of the It's Racing 95, but they're down in third and fifth place, and well far behind. Dallas and Aussie's actually come through the goods. Come through as we just pick up a bit of contact made with some of the drivers. That's Van Vuren running wide at Murray's corner there, so a lot of congestion through here. Cantwell is trying to go for an outside move. I think Mason was trying to go defensive. Oh, he's just clipped the grass there, and Van Vuren has actually run wide all on his own.
Yeah, it's not hard to do. Yeah,
it's very unlucky for the man from Kiwi pit lane. He was doing a good job at the start of the race, but unfortunately he's just dropped well down the order there. Hedges is now trying to find a way through Severi. It is very tricky to make a move here through Griffith's Bend, because basically all the cars are running running line astern at the same braking points and the same braking performance that both Nissan and Lexus cars have, except for the Honda. As you know well and truly, Ryan, it is very strong under brakes there, and turn 2 seems to be a favourable spot for that car to make overtakes.
Yeah, one thing I was really confident, because I did run some laps in all 3 cars. The Honda, the brakes on that thing are actually demonic. Like they're out of the league of the other 2 cars. Like, you can go so deep under brakes, it's ridiculous. But as that probably weighs up with the, oh geez, Van Vuren getting real edgy there. He's actually got damage, so it looks like he might have clipped a wall, possibly turn 6 or so on the left-hander as you, on the right-hander as you drift to the left. So, coming to Reed Park. So yeah, unfortunate there, but Purdon, oh, Lamb's had a dropout. That would be that's not a red flag there. I don't think, no.
It won't be a red flag for that, unfortunately. So it's just seems to be a bit of a hardware malfunction for the man in the privateer in car 82. No retiring the car on lap 3 or 4, so very early in the stint there. So very unlucky for Lambert. Couldn't make it to qualifying, and unfortunately just starting through the field, I think he had to deal with a lot of congestion. So unfortunately that car's come through some issues. Bit of retirement there for the 82, not what we like to see, but I guess for him it's 2 drop rounds, and unfortunately for him, with 2 drop rounds taking place last time out at High Speed Ring and now Bathurst, he needs to be very careful when it comes towards the back end of the season when we start implementing drop rounds into the championship. You know, taking the drivers to worst 2023 calendar. And you know, we're going to see a completely different outcome come St. Croix in December. Yeah,
I've been talking to Green during the week, you know, seeing how he's travelling with times and stuff around here, and he was confident, but by the looks of it, he's not real happy with this wind. So the wind looks to have completely changed the attitude of the car, because in practice, I think I did a 53.1, and now Curry's can't go 53.6. So the tailwind over the top is really changed the attitude of the cars. So yeah, it's going to be interesting if he can get his head around it. But I think he said as well, he's been playing around with points and stuff like that, because obviously we know He did have a 50-point round, and then he's had a did not start round. So he's currently only got 50 points towards his drops. So Green now, currently, he's just got to run to the end, and whatever points he scores from here on in are pretty much just what he earns. So yeah, I think it's going to really shake up the table. But the other thing is, we don't have Crestdale here either. So that may spice it up a bit coming towards the end with the drop rounds in place. But I think, yeah, it's definitely going to spice it up towards the end of St. Croix and when they do get added for the last round. So
Remember, there's no Crestdale, there's no Burke. That's from RoboSport Racing, and now with the disconnect with Lamb, who was actually in contention of this championship quest, and at the time as well, coming into this round, we also had Brendan McKenzie in Shadow GT move himself up into the top 5 after high speed ring. So it may have been a little bit too far away on points to contend for the championship, but he was still hanging around there inside the top 5, running consistency week in, week out of TS2 racing, and he's done a good job, and he earned his way up into that top 5 there. Same thing that we are seeing with the TS3 touring cars. We see a couple of drivers that we're not really familiar with, seeing them inside the top 5, but it shows the consistency that you do when drivers come in, race, get some points in, because they know that if drivers miss out, they gain positions on them, and that's what earns them that eligibility. That's what earns them that main top split slot for them to join in.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but when I was running in Formula 2, I quite enjoyed not running pre-qualifying. I didn't have the stress, so I know that you
only did it once, I think.
I did only do it once, because I think I got like a couple of seconds and then the third and stuff, so I pretty much was in the automatic qualifier. I don't even think I got into the top 8 or whatever it was until the drop rounds came into place. But just looking in the standings here, we've got Sandwith in first on 1839, Crestdale in second on 1818, and then Scotty Taylor here in Aussie in 1807. So he's only 32 points behind Sandwith, and he's only 2 positions behind him on track at the moment. But yes, lead Lexus driver too. I think he's really enjoyed the bop no tune stuff like that. We did see him drop out of formulas, unfortunately, because he wasn't happy with having a tune and stuff like that, so he actually pulled his entry. But I think he's really coming to terms here with the tin top. So it's good to see that consistency is playing key for him. And Sandwith obviously didn't have a good round last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, high speed ring. High speed ring wasn't his car.
And yeah, so even the weekend before that as well. And so round 6, 7, and 8, he got 216, 222, and 216. So yeah, wow. It's massively where Aussie Taylor got 216, 231, and 240. So in 2 weeks, Aussie's really pulled back a lot of points on Sandwith, and come the end, look, it could be anyone's game. So yeah, it's going to be. Oh, honestly, I think this is the closest TS2 season that we've had to date at the moment. And as people say,
2021 was actually not 2021. It was actually 2022 was actually considered to be the close season between both WTC, or what was then WTCC, in Slappers mate Wade Von Duvey and Budsy 76 in Blazikig for the MSR squad. And those two were battling it out left, right, front and center right up until the last round. So that it was a really good season for those two. But I think, like, I agree with you, it's absolutely, we're getting more drivers involved and more drivers are in contention to take out the championship, and they're all in close quarters. I mean, Aussie Taylor, as you said, he's 32 points behind, he's 2 positions behind, but he's really flown under the radar. Has Aussie Taylor, and he surprises us. Like we didn't see him in the formulas, but he definitely has shown a lot of surprise and promise. And could he emulate what his teammate and his good mate in Von Duvey did in 2022? And can he get a victory and a championship for WTC Racing? Could they go 2 in a row? That'll be the first. It could be the first time for WTC Racing going back to back. It could be the first time in Trackstars Racing Series history that the same team could go back-to-back in TS2 Championship. So we'll have to wait and see when we get to St. Croix. But we are on lap 7 of 40. It is a long race here, so the drivers are really spreading themselves out, just stretching their wings, trying to find their track position as we go through the order. It's Mitch Curry in first with a healthy lead over Jarman Dallas in P2. 3.5. Looks like the gaps has come down a little bit. Looks like Dallas has improved his lap time. A 1 minute 53.6, very close to the fastest lap set by Curry. Sandwith 6 seconds behind Dallas, and then Green 1.6 behind Sandwith, and then a good margin over Aussie Taylor inside the top 5. Rounding up in 6th place is Cantwell for RoboSport Racing, 7.3 behind Taylor. And this, as I said, is his first appearance in the TS2 Touring Cars top split, and he's doing a very good job to be sitting in P6. Mason in 7th place for Kiwi Pit Lane, 2.4 behind Cantwell. And then 8th place we have PH Esports Hedges rounding up the top 8 positions, with Van Vuren in 9th after we saw him have an off at Murray's Corner a few laps ago. He's recovered up into P9. And then Purton in the 10th place, rounding up the top 10. And then we have Severi, Calypso 11th and 12th. We have Breeder in 13th, trying to catch up to the back of the pack. And then we have Doc here. So this is an interesting one here. We actually, last time we saw him, was running up into P6, Ryan. So where has he gone wrong in one of his laps? He's set 1 minute 57s, 1 minute 58. So
I think he's
interesting.
Just
That's
this lap. So he's currently at 1 minute 33, where the cars in front of him are at 1 minute 17. So he's done something
there you go.
on this lap. But the other thing is as well, we missed Green and Aussie. So something happened to Aussie that last lap. Sorry, lap 4. So he had a 2 minute lap time there. So not too sure what happened, but yeah, it looks like Aussie and Green. Speaking of Green, look at how close he is to Sandwith. So this is what he wants. I know Green, and as I said to him, I was speaking to him during the week, and he's hunting Sandwith down because he knows what he needs to do. And he did say that the next couple of tracks that we're going to are one of his favourites. So he loves Bathurst, obviously being a Sydney boy. He has grown up in Western Sydney as well, and actually lives half an hour away from me, which I also found out. So that's interesting. But another weird fact, I don't know about you. So we all know that Mr. Purton is on a controller. What do you use to change gears? I use X and square.
Are you talking about my weird configurations with my?
Just the generalization, because he told me how he shifts gears, and I told him he's a madman.
Yeah. So if you want to let us know if you are running on the controller, do let us know what you are actually running your upshift and downshift. But I'll expose by now to the public that I'm using triangle and square for triangle for upshift, square for downshift. But what we had noticed from Purton, he is using the right thumbstick.
Yes.
Am I correct, Ryan?
Yes, you are indeed correct. I found out from him, and I go, mate, you're an absolute madman. And he goes, I don't know, just how it is. But you want to know what's even funnier? Mr. Hedges over here uses L1 and R1.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I don't know how they do it, but for me personally, as I said, I use X for up and square for down. So yeah, but man, they're demons, and look, hats off to them. And everyone, obviously, I've called you a weirdo because of how you have your triangle and square, because it's completely opposite. But yeah, it's an interesting one here. So
well,
yeah.
I think maybe the next time I might experiment using the D-pad or something.
Don't worry, mate. Just use the touchpad. You'll be right, left and right on the touchpad for up and down gears.
I might even just go back to the old GT days, in Gran Turismo days, just using X as the accelerator and circle as the brake. So, and then just use what was L2 R2, well, wasn't there. Just they were just literally buttons on the back of the controller. I might just use that for my upshift and downshift, but. My goodness, there are some interesting configurations. I'd love to hear some of the drivers in Woodsy, and I think as well 5% in Liam. I'm pretty sure he used to run controller back a few years ago before he moved to the wheel. Yeah,
so he's actually on the wheel now, from what I've heard. But I think he used to run the same configuration as what I did. But yeah, as you said, there are some interesting configurations. For Sandwith really loose there. That's not what you want with Green right on your tail. I wonder if Green's going to go for a move here on the inside.
He's thinking about it.
Oh,
leaves
very
space to
close there.
Sandwith. He did leave the racing room there, did Sandwith, so very good awareness there by the FR driver, trying to fend off from Green. So not a very comfortable lap there it is for Green. As we look on board with Sandwith, let's try and look back at the rear view of that Honda NSX. Let's see how much time he's actually closing up on Green as we come through to the chase on the 9th lap here. Let's see what the braking difference is. Looks very even there. It looks like he just ran a little bit deep there, did Green, but he managed to pick it up. Hasn't lost a little bit of time, but he's gaining it back. Very even, these cars around Mount Panorama. It's absolutely incredible how even these cars are pace-wise.
Yeah, they definitely got the BOP right on this one. But Green looks a little bit more confident under brakes than what Sandwith does, and corner exit on throttle. So I noticed Sandwich was really hesitant there, but Green's in the slipstream, but that wind is probably not doing him any favours. So Sandwich has gone on a PB sector there, so that's interesting. Look at that time there. Green close up that into turn 2. Wow, he gained a 10th, nearly a 10th and a half.
Runs it right up on the wall there going into the cutting into turn 3. Just the confidence he's got in that Nissan GTR, just loses a little bit of the rear end there. That's just the dirty air effect coming in. He's hold it just. He's lost a lot of time there, did Green. Wow, that's a good save and a half there. The dirty air kicked in at one point, and then unfortunately it just cost him the rear end of that Nissan GTR. Loses almost 3 seconds, almost 2 seconds to Sandwith in P3, but that's a good save there. And they said it can, all mistakes like this can prove costly, Ryan, because one little slight mistake, you lose the slipstream. You might just lose a little bit of confidence, maybe for a couple of laps before you find it again.
Yeah, not only that, the confidence as well as the tyres. I noticed massively for us at the Kyoto 500, the time loss that I had when I would get a little bit edgy on out of the corners. You know, the tyres would take a lot to cool down. So I don't know if it was the same for you, but they've really, I think, adjusted the tyre model. You know, it's probably on the good end of spectrum, but same time, Green running really deep there into the chase. But yeah, they've definitely looking on the upwards of the spectrum there to get the tyre model correct. But I think they probably just got them to cool down for too long. But hey, it's all part of racing. But yeah, that's probably one thing that I did notice is the tyre temp massively after you do have a little bit of a moment there, like what Green did. You know, losing 2.2, and then now the time's come down slightly, so his tyres are probably coming back down to temperature. You know, you just want to kind of baby it around for a little bit for the rest of the lap, and then yeah, just get back into it. But here we have it, ladies and gentlemen, 11 laps out of 40. Green on a personal best sector there, as well as session best with Jarman with a 53.29, but Curry consistent 53s, means punching out lap times and punching out gap to Jarman. So Jarman's actually had done a 158 on lap 7, so he's had a bit of a moment. So that's interesting.
Yeah. It was actually, I think, last time I caught him, so we nearly caught out the same thing. I think we did catch Dalitz only being about 3 seconds behind Curry at one point, and then obviously that 1:58 just proved costly for car 95, but he's back into it, into the session best. He's in the low to mid 53, so that's good running pace, but Curry is still running the consistent 53s, as we see Purton just getting very squarely on the exit of the cutting, going up through Solman and then into Reed. Hedges is actually doing a lot better than his teammate, running in P7. He is the other PHE Sports driver that's yet to get main series eligibility here, so could he potentially, maybe, it might be a little bit too far, because if you look where both Kentwell and Hedges are and where Aussie Taylor is already almost halfway up Conrod Straight, it might be out of reach. But if anything happens within that top 5, you never know, and Hedges could come out of it, you know, in that 5th position.
Well, anything's possible, but I think Hedges is on for his best performance here. So obviously being a one race, they do have maximum points available here, so 300 for the race winner and vice versa. But yeah, that's, you know, it's possible. But if Hedges can just keep it up, I think he's going to be on for his good performance there. Obviously with Kentwell just in front of him. But back on the Yeah.
sorry, just him
Yeah.
and Cantwell will actually have some great performances, because this is the highest I've actually seen Cantwell and the TS2 touring cars in any of the seasons that he's competed with us here at Trackstars Racing Series. So a 6th place around Mount Panorama is pretty good. And Van Verven's down in 10th place. He just lost the position there to Purton at the top of the hill. So Purton back up into P9 and Van Verven in P12. Severi 11th, Breeder 12th. Calypso's dropped out down to 13th place, and Doc is still trying to claw back some time there. What was his lap time in the end though when he lost time? 2:26. Wow. It's a very costly mistake. Lap 7 there for the WRT man.
Yeah, the one thing I will say as well, Breeder still kind of coming to terms with the tin tops. I think, you know, we saw him pretty consistently quick in main series for the formulas, but I had some good battles with him here, but it doesn't look like he's kind of come to terms with the tin tops. But while we're on that, I'll just divert back to that controller joystick debate. The man in the ex-TS2 champion in Wade Von Duvey has just said that Aussie uses the right analog stick for throttle and brake and L2 and R2 for gears. I don't know what to say.
I don't know. We need to ask Woodsy if he can try that out and experiment it, because I'm not so sure. Wow. That is very crazy there, Wade. And if Aussie does that, I mean, praise to him. You know, he could be coming out of this race in second in the championship, and just losing out some points to Sandwith. But if that's his configuration, my word, that is very unique indeed. And I guess in a way, you know, yourself, myself, you know, we just found out with Hedges and Purton, as we see Green going around the outside. Can he hold it? No, he doesn't. I was just about to make some comments there, but Green says, "Nah, screw your comments. I want to get some action here." And the man, as you said, the local boy from Western Sydney, Sandwith gets very squirrely, very easy to do in the Honda NSX. Runs it a little bit wide there on the exit, does Sandwith. Oh, God, that camera view just makes it look like the cars are actually going to hit the wall there. It is absolutely scary as we go on board with Green up the rise and down the hill we go for the 13th time here. It's unlucky for some, but we are on lap 13. Who will be the unlucky one on this lap? Will it be Sandwith? Will it be Green as they come down through the dipper? It's very single file here, very tentative on the throttle there. Loses a bit of time there, did Green, so probably not happy with his throttle input going down the dipper, a little bit too deep going down into that corner. And it's very easy to do. No matter what car you pick, no matter what car you choose, it's not easy to execute the dipper, at least what I've noticed on Gran Turismo 7. I'm not so sure about you on any other platforms of games that you've raced.
No, it is only kind of GT7. The car just feels really heavy. Like when you go through the dipper and it lifts that left front, the car feels really heavy and it pushes you out to the right hand wall. So you really got to wash off quite a lot of speed there. But yeah, I think that's what Green just focused. Sandwith running deep there into 23. He's going to make the move here. Sandwith gets a really unfortunate run there on the exit of that corner there. He just runs really deep there. Misses the apex. Can't get on throttle and hits the grass. Wow, that's really unfortunate. But yeah, this is some awesome racing going on. But now Sandwich just kind of needs to relax, let the tyres kind of clean up, and then get back to it and start hustling. So, but yeah, it's kind of a really Gran Turismo 7. GT Sport wasn't as bad. Obviously, the dirty air in the wind is a factor as well. But even just running by yourself, the car just feels really heavy. But iRacing is a lot better. So, but we actually have Matt Simmons, welcome my friend, 2015 GT Academy, and he's saying that's how I use controller when I did it too. I think he's talking about the way that Aussie did with the right and analog stick with the L2R2. So, mate, you're a demon. You need to go back to controller, mate.
Apparently, he said in the Porsche Cup he's actually, even if he went to a controller, he could still beat you. That was quite a funny comment. He
started a challenge. Mate, Mr. Matt Simmons, I want to know is that a challenge? Because if it is, mate, let's go at Bathurst. I want you to use a controller. And I want proof. I want proof of that.
Just do a live stream of his controller, watch his fingers.
Exactly. Because I think he calls me a pleb. He calls me a pleb because I use controller. But I don't know. I don't know what to say. It's just Matt being Matt. But
there you go. That's why he's a champion in his own right. So he's done. So that's why you're very grateful to have him in the team. But as we are lap 15 or 14, not even halfway through this race here, we're about almost 27, about to cross 27 minutes of racing here, ladies and gentlemen. We've still got 14 runners. Unfortunately, the retirement from KH Lamb, the privateer in car 82, DNF'd his car on lap 3 through no fault of his own, unfortunately. So not going to be getting any points at the end of this. As I said, could cost him some positions, could cost him some valuable points at the end of this championship, this TS2 Touring Cars Championship, but we'll find out at St. Croix. Jarman Dallas has actually been closing that gap ever so slightly a little bit to Mitch Curry. So obviously, with Dallas's performance here at Bathurst, I think he's actually won Bathurst. I think once or twice the Bathurst 1000 in the Enduros. So he's got a lot of confidence in himself and on this track. That he's just ever so slightly closing up a little bit to Mitch Curry, but Mitch Curry is the first man now into the 1 minute 52s. Dallas set a 1 minute 52.982. These guys are so close on times. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, we talk about ultimate pairings in the Enduros, in the Trackstars Racing Series Touring Cars Enduros, but could you imagine if we put Curry and Dallas in the car, in the TS2 car, and they're both punching out lap times like that? My goodness, that would be a formidable duo and a very fast duo that you just can't beat.
Well, look at Kyoto. Dallas was actually quick, so Dallas was with Nightwalker. So I think that was the best performance that they've had in that WRT car. So I was racing. No, I wasn't racing Dallas. I was racing Nightwalker. Nightwalker did pretty well, but from what I could see, Dallas looked pretty comfy in that car. So he's back to his roots. Sets a purple lap there, 52.896. Only just. Steals it off Mitch Curry, who did a 50.
The exit of Griffin's all the way up to the cutting. That's incredible pace. He's got form, he's got pace. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's got the consistency here tonight, and he was probably one of the favourites to be contending for victory here tonight.
Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there, but you probably know as yourself, I keep coming back to the wind aspect. It's a completely different direction than from what I remember of practice. So I did practice early this morning, and I was doing mid 53s on track for 52. So yeah, but that was a headwind into turn 2 and a tailwind down Conrod. So over the top, it wasn't really kind of affecting me because it was just a cross and I was just taking it pretty normally. So, but yeah, you know, I don't know about you, but it definitely changes the attitude of my car. You know, extends or reduces my braking zones and how the car behaves in the dirty air.
And with that, do you actually think drivers are looking at that gauge, at the wind factor when they are driving each lap? Because as we know with the Gran Turismo 7, when they've now implemented the wind direction and wind speed on the brand new on the Gran Turismo game that's been pretty much been online for over 18 months now. Still broken, by the way. But with 2 points, with a 2.6 kilometer crosswind from left to right, going a tailwind down through the S's into the dipper down to Forest Elba. I mean, even from there, McPhillamy to Forest Elba, that's pretty scary. You know, if you're coming down at rapid speeds, you brake normally, and then if it's just a meter or 2 or 5 meters later, you could just get the car crossed up, lock the rear brakes, and just go pretty much escapading and pretty much lose a rear end and go spinning down the S's. But looks like the majority of the drivers are going okay here. We'll just have to wait and see what Green's car behaviour is like. As Sandwith just clips the wall there, coming through Solomon and then through to the Greats, up towards Reed and McPhillamy. A little bit of dirty air kicking in for Green here, and here they come towards the tailwind. Let's see what their car performances are like on lap 17 of 40. We saw that Green broke a little bit earlier that time, so just to get the rotation of the car. It has worked a little bit on his favour there. So very close. It is very, very close here. I think he just managed to brake. It's always hard as a driver. You want to brake late. You want to actually scare the driver in front of you for them to make a mistake. But if you brake late and you try to scare them, you actually hinder yourself entry and exit on the exit of the corner. So it's very hard for a driver.
Yeah, definitely. You know, we've been racing together for a while. You know, you want to be sitting there and faking out the car in front of you, stuff like that, to try and get him to fake out into a move. I'm just trying to find another driver, but there isn't really much going on. Breeder's dropped down here with 2 minutes 13, so it looks like he made a big mistake. But yeah, that win. Not only that, Jarman's actually closed the gap to Curry. So Curry's on a 53.1 and a 53.7, so he's nearly under the 7-second barrier. But yeah, the mountain is scary as it is, and then now you're adding wind into it, let alone a tailwind through the S's into the hump going into the S's. Actually, I'll flick back to 2021, I think it was. Bryce Fullwood was in Super 2s. The wind direction actually changed to a tailwind across Skyline. So he braked at his normal spot, and then in doing so lifted the rear of the car up and unsettled it, and he absolutely cleaned up the wall. And you know, it's as simple as that. But I actually made that mistake practicing for high speed ring, so I didn't actually see the wind. I didn't take notice of the wind direction change. And actually no, sorry, I did it at the Kyoto in the race in a second stint, so the wind direction was different. I didn't take notice of it. I went into turn 1 and I ran wide. I was like, oh my god, what's going on? And then I had a look at the wind after that, and it completely changed direction and was nearly doubled. So I was just like, geez. So then you really got to change your driving style there. But from my practice in the Nissan to where the way Green's using the car, he's not potentially using the gears to his advantage to get the car settled on corner exit, but he's got a run here, taking the inside into the kink. This is awesome. This is an awesome battle. I hate to go to the other cars in front, but this is too good to take our eyes off, ladies and gentlemen. But
runs it a little bit deep.
Can Sandwith get a crisscross? No, unfortunate. But yeah, for me personally, so I would stay in second here. But yeah, coming out of the elbow, I'd change up to third early on the exit, so the car's still low revs, but it's still in boost. So yeah, it's definitely interesting on how to drive it in these conditions as well, obviously with the wind behind carrying extra speed. But look at this gap that they pulled out. Jarman's got 28.8 seconds to these guys because they've been battling for the last onwards of 10 laps.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. The pace that he's putting through, he's still closing up to Curry. Oh, as I say that, he's just run wide at the top of McPhillamy. Just going to have some dirty tyres there. You can see there on the leaderboard, he's almost lost, nearly about to lose a second there. He's only lost about 7/10 from that. Thankfully, not much more than that. So it's all about that. Fine margins. It's about just trying to finesse your car around the track as quickly as you can. Keeping it keeping it on the tarmac, not trying to run it onto the grass, because dirty tyres around here is pretty scary, because especially if you have dirty tyres coming down towards the chase, where you're pretty much peaking at almost 300 kilometers, and that's coming. Oh, what's happened here? Let's have a look. Oh, it looks like his teammate Breeder's ahead. What has happened here? This could be huge.
Oh no! Wow.
His teammate has collected him. Ed Breeder, his teammate in RoboSport Racing, has collected Mitch Curry. That is absolutely huge in this race. Car 69 of Ed Breeder, the Flying Dutchman, as we usually call him in the formulas, unfortunately just broke it on the grass there, and bang! Right there on Mitch Curry's 43, costing Mitch Curry the lead. Thankfully for these guys, they have light damage, so the car gets repaired pretty quickly. Thankfully, he hasn't lost too much time, but wow, that is a huge rate. That is a huge game changer in this race here. And we're only on lap 20 of 40. We're just about to approach halfway into this race here, Ryan. Dallitz now leads the way, just less than a second ahead of Curry, who was leading the majority of this race. The first half of this race was led by Mitch Curry. What would you do now? Do you come into the pit lane? Do you go for an undercut? Because that would have rattled the feathers underneath the helmet of car 43.
If that was me, I would have come back onto the circuit and gone zoop into the pit lane. Give me some new tyres, get me out on track, fresh rubber, clean air, settle down, and absolutely punch out. Because these guys have currently got the same tyres, stuff like that. Do an undercut on Jarman, because then you'll make Jarman react to it, because obviously being so close. But Yeah, wow, man. I know Curry's going to be absolutely livid with that one. You know, Brett, all Ed did was just try and get out of the way, but he was breaking on the grass, which is just so unfortunate. So, but that's a game changer there, ladies and gentlemen, as Jarman's currently got a 1.2 second lead. The question is, will Curry pit on this lap? But this now spices things up here. So, what will be...
It's now brought these two into contention for the win here, as both Curry was leading comfortably. The gap was closing between both Curry and Dallas.
There he
what
goes.
Curry do? He does the right thing, comes into the pit lane. That's exactly what I would have done. I think Ryan hit it on the head there. If you actually went off there, you probably could have come in the lap where you had your incident, get some fresh tyres and off you go. But I think Curry's, for his sake, he just wanted to make sure that he's still in the same pace as Jarman Dallas, because when you come off the track and you have an incident like that, sometimes you do lose a bit of confidence in yourself and in the car's capabilities after that incident. But thankfully for him, he was running even pace with Dallas, so now he knows that he can come into the pits, bang on some tyres, to do 20 laps on this current set. And for him, he'll be able to into the end there.
Yeah, we see Green as well jump into the pits.
So Green into the pit lane. He was actually ahead of Sandwith here, and Curry's just jumped in behind Sandwith. So if Sandwith stays out and Curry's stuck behind the Honda, this could go from bad to worse for Curry, because he'll be hampered by Sandwith.
Yeah, especially with Jarman having clear air. But the question is, can we keep this consistency going? We can see Jarman...
Oh, he's got damage. He's got some damage to his balance.
Yeah, so he's got damage here, and he's done a 156 on lap 19. So, as I was just saying, it's a long race for these guys. This is their longest race at the moment that they've had. So, 250Ks, 40 laps. They're starting to really get into the long races. You know, they've only had sprint races, except for obviously high-speed rings. Yeah. So... yeah, it could definitely be interesting. The other thing we want to keep an eye on is the gap between Sandwith and Curry when Sandwith pits. So we've got essentially the race leader in Dallas in P1 and P2 in Mitch Curry, because obviously Sandwith hasn't pitted. But the question is, does Sandwith keep going? Or does he come in? So that's another question. But Green has clear air. Yeah, so Green's got clear air. 1.8 in front of Kentwell. But Curry is 1.7 behind Sandwich. So give Curry probably another lap or two, and he'll be in that dirty air there, really hindering. But the other thing is, they're racing for position. Sandwich doesn't have to give it up. So that can really come into play here. But yeah, as Matt said in the comments, he's spicy. So that is the thing. But Sandwich, he pulls into the pits now. So that's the old thing, as you were saying. One comes in, one reacts. Which the person who didn't react is Jarman. So Jarman's still going.
Yeah, absolutely, and also it's the same as well. Green came into the pit lane, Sandwith didn't. And actually, it was funny enough, because Green was ahead of Sandwith coming into the pit lane, but Sandwith decided to go for one more lap. So I have a feeling that Green's going to benefit from this undercut. If he's kept the car straight and pointy, he'll benefit from this undercut. He might pull ahead. Oh, as I say that, put a little bit of a commentator's curse on the man in car 232. Wow, that was scary there. And that's just really hurt his tyres. He's run it wide. No, Green, I was just giving you so much praise there. And now we see Sandwith coming out of the pit lane ahead of Green. So costly mistakes there. That definitely would have cost him at least 2 seconds on that. And what is the gap between himself and Sandwith? We're looking at about
6.5.
6 seconds.
Yeah, 6.5.
Over 6 seconds. So actually, Sandwith would have come out ahead of Green in all of that. Wow. What a race, ladies and gentlemen. Let us know. Do let us know in the comments who you're predicting for your podium, who's going to take victory, and who's going to round out the podium, because here in the commentary box, we have no idea. Curry is on a charge with fresh tyres, but Dallas has got the 4 behind him, setting 1 minute 52s and 1 minute 53s. That last lap was a 2 minute 2, so something dramatic has happened on that last lap. He didn't come into the pit lane, but he could be coming into the pit lane. No, he stays out for another lap here, so... he's obviously just trying to say to himself, I want to have the freshest tyres of the lot.
Yeah, but the question is, as Matt just brought up as well, and you just said there, Jarman lost 10 seconds on that lap. So when they came into the pits, Curry was only onwards of 1.92 seconds behind. So this can really hinder Jarman in his stretch there, because he's probably sitting at around 11 or 12% of fuel there, but he's got a lap car in front of him in Van Buren, and he's approaching turn 2. Oh, that's going to be really tough there for Jarman if he does catch the back of him, because you know what it's like. So Van Vuren has
He's
actually
going to
pit.
come up a whole
Yeah,
uphill section of Mount Panorama, and this is not where you want lap traffic here, Ryan. It is single file here, so what does Van Vuren do? He obviously needs to keep the car going through. At least lucky for him, this whole section, if you get the lines right, is pretty much flat out, all the way up through to McPhillamy, down to Brock Skyline. Does he pull to the left here? No, he still stays on the racing lines there, so
he
he
run
needs to obey the
straight
blue
to the
flags
S's. He may
very
run straight here.
soon.
No, he
What will he
doesn't.
do? No.
He may
Oh,
pull
this
over
is...
on the flat. Oh, that's not a place to do it.
Oh,
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 gee.
very close, but he did give the
Oh.
he did leave room and he gave
He
him the
did.
space there. So well played
He did.
to Van Buren.
He did. If that was me, I would have waited to go through the dipper, and then let Jarman pass
Yeah,
on the
true.
flat section. So pull to the right hand side, let
Definitely.
Jarman pass on the left. But yeah, that's interesting. But we've got Hedges in front of Jarman as well. Probably maybe 4 seconds ish or so behind there, and Hedges is pit also. So yeah, this may come into play. So Jarman pit. If it was me in Jarman's shoes, I would have pit probably the lap after Curry.
Yeah.
And he's
Well,
going
he
around
said
again.
well, yeah, he's another lap. Obviously, he wants to run that tank right to the brim there, and like Matt pointed out in the grandstand, he said a 2-minute 2 on lap 21. So that's definitely where he would have lost 10 seconds to Mitch Curry. So I think any advantage that Dallas has brought, like taking the lead away from Curry. Oh, as you say that, he gets very taily on the exit of Hell Corner. This is not the strategy that Dallas wanted in this race. He should have come into the pit lane.
Yeah, honestly, that would have been
1.4. This
Yeah.
has to be the moment. I think the engineers need to be screaming in his radio comm, say, come into the pit lane. Obviously, we had the 2014 where JB Wingcup was trying to say, these engineers were begging him to save fuel. I think in 2023, I think the engineers in Nets Racing are just begging him to come into the pit lane, please, because they just changed the tires and just clear your head, because it is not working for car 95. He's getting behind lap traffic, hindering his tyre performance and his capabilities of getting around the track as quickly as he can. Obviously, he's setting a 1 minute 52.8, but with the inconsistency since then, it's been up and down for the man in car 95, and he really needs to come into that pit lane.
Yeah, and he's lost nearly 2 seconds to 2.5 seconds there to Curry on that last lap, but it's going to be close when they come out. But yeah, good point there from Matt, saying big risk staying out with lap traffic. If it was me, I would have come in. I hate sitting behind lap traffic. The only thing you can use is do what they're doing here and use them for a slipstream to gain back some little tiny bit of time. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I think that's probably not the way that Jarman wanted to go. But you know, it'd be smart to come in now. Obviously, going under 10 litres, you know, anything's possible. But yeah, this interesting. He stays out again. Ooh.
Wow, this is very. I don't know what the strategy is here for car 95, but he's a brave man. That's for sure.
Do we have the Ferrari strategist on board that is racing Mobile or what? Because it's definitely not mine. But
definitely not.
Yeah, Chris. No, Green didn't get held up in traffic. He actually made a mistake on his outlap, as Matt just said, and hit the wall trying to catch Sandwith. So jumping back to this, it's 4 seconds. So he has brought 2 seconds down on that one. So Green is in a little bit of clean air. Breeder just letting past. But yeah, it's definitely going to be a bit spicy between where Dallas comes out in comparison to where Curry is. And then obviously,
I think Curry will definitely be ahead. He'll be well ahead.
I think so too.
Curry will be well ahead of Dallas. Sandwith will definitely close the gap, but 54 seconds behind the race leader, and the race leader has to put fuel in his car. It could reduce down probably by another 20 odd seconds, maybe 30 seconds, I would say. But still, it won't be enough for Sandwith to have any contention of battling Jarman for P2. But it's only going to be the battle potentially for first place if Curry doesn't make any more mistakes or get hampered by teammates down at the chase. And I think the battle for P3 could still well and truly on between Sandwith and Green, as we see Cantwell into the pit lane finally. Much better tyres, I will say, on Cantwell's car compared to Dallas. It's looking very handy there for car number 72 on his first outing in TS2.
Yeah, definitely. He has put a strong showing there. But I'm currently getting some info over the the radio from Matt, obviously he's probably in the garage there saying Jarman's radio is not working. So mate, you might want to get those signboards out and get him out there to Jarman saying pit, 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 pit. So
He's gone again.
Yeah, he's going again. He's going again, but he didn't really lose much time that last lap. So those tyres are still holding up. But yeah, Curry's got
back in the 53s there.
Yeah, so back in the 53, he's had a bit of a sketchy lap, but Curry's on the charge there. But as you were saying, I think Curry's going to be well in front there. It's going to be a bit of a gap between Curry and Dalitz when they come out. A little bit of a gap between Dalitz and Sandwith, but the question is, can Green close that gap to Sandwith at 3.2 seconds with 16 laps to go in this race? It's going to be interesting. Currently hitting 48 minutes, so yeah, the longest race that they've had so far. So, ladies and gentlemen, as they always say about Bathurst, safety cars breed safety cars, and there would have been some here if we were running safety cars, but damage is breeding damage. So, yeah, you know, each car in the top 4 has hit the wall or got damage at some point. So, the car that hasn't, and he's currently unscathed, is sitting at Aussie Taylor in P5. So, actually no, he did have that bit of an off. So yeah, you know, I think from what I've seen, every car has had a bit of an off there. But
yeah, definitely.
If TS2 is bringing this, mate, what's Main Series got for us in 2 weeks' time?
Yeah, as we've noted there, 2 weeks' time will be the Trackstars touring cars Bathurst version of the famous Bathurst 1000. It's going to be very exciting in 2 weeks' time. We've got the real world Bathurst 1000 next week as Aussie Taylor runs wide through Hell Corner. But then we have our traditional Trackstars Racing Series Bathurst 1000. This surely has to be the time for him to come into the pit lane.
He's got no fuel, he has to.
He's coming up behind Mason there, so he's lapped all drivers up to 9th, or almost up to 10th, 9th place. And then he's finally coming into the pit lane, left and late. Just probably playing with us in the headset and just letting us know in the stream saying, I'm not going to pit, but 2 litres of fuel left in that car. Yes, you had to come into the pit lane. I think the advantage now that Jarman Dalitz is going to have is 1, fresher tyres, and 2, a light tank of fuel.
He won't have to fill up as much. So they've got tyres on board, and then now he's got fuel. So we'll see. As Curry just goes past him, the question is, when will Jarman come out? Where's Sandwith at? Still coming down Conrod?
He's come out with 32 litres. Curry is working his way halfway up through Conrod Straight, through Mountain Straight. And he's right there, 6.2. That'll definitely increase so the real relative number we'll have to see is when they approach the cutting, what the gap is between the two. But 6.5, it's not bad. I mean, he lost 10 seconds, as he did lose 10 seconds with that 2-minute 2 lap there, so he definitely could have been ahead of Mitch Curry throughout all of this. If he just came into the pit lane earlier, when he realised he made a 2-minute 2 lap, that he probably could have come into the pit lane and just say, let's get some fresh tyres on this car and let's really go for it, because I can really challenge for the victory. He knows he can challenge for victory here tonight, but 6.7 seconds with 14 laps to go it can be doable, but it's very risky.
Yeah, at the pace that those 2 drivers at the front are going, you know, they're lapping pretty much within the same time. Maybe a 10th, if not 2, different, as you can see, 53.9, 53.6, you know, 53.1, put Jarman fresh tyres on. Anything is possible, but I personally think Jarman did leave it a little bit too late, unless he settled for a podium. But yeah, at the moment, I think Curry's got this one in the bag. Touch wood, but look at this gap here between Green and Sandwith. He's got that down to 1.4 seconds in 3 laps. Yeah, Matt, the gap is back to before Curry had a moment there with Breeder in the chase. So yeah, that's back to 7 seconds. So yeah, that's interesting. As he's starting to approach lap cars. So where is that car and who is it? It is Doc. So Doc, where is he? P12 with Severy. Look how close they are in relation to each other. So you've got up to P9, all in this little tight gaggle here within probably roughly 250 meters of road. And Curry is approaching them something quick, smart. So that hopefully Curry's going to want to pass all 4 of those cars in between the period of the elbow and turn 2 at the end of this lap and start of the next one. Otherwise, that gap there that Jarman has currently at 7.4 seconds is going to come down quite considerably.
Absolutely. And yeah, as we say, the gap is there between them, 7.3 seconds, lap traffic ahead of him. But the problem is that lap traffic is battling in their own rights to battle for their positions on the track here. So as much as you don't want to lose time to your opponent and you've got the leader of the race approaching you, we see it in all real worlds of racing that yes, you have to obey the blue flags, but I think it's a very debatable topic that David Croft always brings up in the Formula One during the practice session. When you get yourself a blue flag, and obviously you're battling someone for position, but the leader's coming up towards you, you do have to give way to the leader and let them continue on at race pace, and then you go slotting in behind. But he always brings up the fact that he's saying, get rid of the blue flags, let the drivers on track race each other, and the leader has to do the hard work and, you know, in overtaking the lap traffic without obeying the blue flags. Because he would say that just abolish the blue flag and just do it the hard way.
Well, realistically, if you look at it like endurance racing, right? So yeah, they have blue flags, but the other thing is, the faster car has to make their way around the slower car. The slower car needs to try and keep their line, stuff like that. Make it easy for them. Don't just slam the brakes. But yeah, he does make a good point. You know, Gordok is racing for position. So at the same time as worrying about Curry behind him, he can't just give up what is 9/10 of a gap there. So he'll let Curry past here. But in doing that, he'll sit in behind Curry. You know, he only lost 4/10. 5/10. Look, it's unfortunate, but the race leader is the priority, obviously, but Curry has to make his way around the lap car safely as well. So, you know, it works the same way as endurance racing. You know, you don't want to make it hard for the leader in what Severi's doing. Unfortunately,
Severi is losing. He's actually lost time, and this could be playing in the hands of Docky. He's going to follow Curry through. Oh, very close quarters here. Severi really blocking the race leader of Mitch Curry as they come down towards through the S's. That is absolutely that is absolutely costly here. Doc is trying to avoid everything. He had nowhere to go, unfortunately.
Yeah,
backed out of it.
Yeah, that was very hard for Severi there. So that section there is really somewhere you can't pass safely. You know, just got to stick behind. If anything, if he's quick in between the hump of the Vista and the S's, even then probably won't. But it looks like Curry was just being really conservative there. But Jarman 157, so he's made a mistake that last lap. In the time that Jarman was to make any gap back to Curry, it was going to have to be that lap. So, wow.
It's just going from bad to worse for Jarman Dallas. Didn't come into the pit lane and reacting from Mitch Curry's mistake, and as well spending a long time on track on worn tyres and really running the tank down to the bare minimum. And it's just, unfortunately, he just keeps making mistake after mistake. He should capitalise on what Curry's unfortunate undoings are happening on his side of things, getting lap traffic and really closing the gap there. Because that gap went from 10.8, 10.9 to 7.9 coming into the chase. He lost 3 seconds, did Curry, from going down the skyline. It was absolutely incredibly close between those two. And then all of a sudden, he just loses out on the exit of the chase, just really spinning up the rear tyres, and the gap is now back up just under 10 seconds. So, unfortunately for Dallas, I don't think the It's Racing Esports driver and team definitely haven't played their strategy right tonight. But it is still early days. We only got ourselves 10.5 laps to go, and anything can happen in 10.5 laps around this 6.213 kilometre circuit.
Alright, just give me 1 second. Yeah, sorry about that. I just had to duck out there. Someone was at the door. But yeah, so I think the Ferrari strategists are on board for the It's Racing crew. Matt, mate, you couldn't have got out there with you and your little pretty pink tutu, put the sign out saying Jarman Pit. But yeah, so that's as you said, probably not the right call. But in 9.1. Someone's wiped out all the brake markers there. That's not ideal for the drivers because they're pretty critical.
I think that may have been Curry when he got unfortunately taken out by his teammate. I think that may have been the case.
Yep.
Potentially. But as we look down the grid there, we have been keeping our eyes on within the top 4 because it is very close battling and very strategic racing. Let's look down the rest of the grid. In 5th place, still on his lonesome, is Aussie Taylor. In 5th place, 24 seconds behind Sandwith, but still holding on very nicely. Balding and Bryce Kentwell is doing a fantastic job in his first time out in the top split of TS2 in 6th place. Then we have Ben Purton, car 91 for PH Esports, in 7th place. Tristan Mason for Kiwi Pit Lane in 8th place, doing a very nice job in the other Honda NSX. The CP Motorsport Honda NSX is doing very well in P8. And then we have Liam Hedges in 9th place, holding on very well to himself. And then Severi, who we did catch with that battle pack, with him and Curry, as well as Gordock, coming down through this section here on the previous lap, or 2 laps ago rather. Very close between those two, and now they're getting blue flags for the fast driver in Jarman Dallitz, and then we had Van Vuren and Devlin rounding up 13th and 14th place. Unfortunately, and Breeder 14th place rather, with unfortunately Lamb suffering a disconnect, a DNF on lap 3 of 40. So imagine if you threw Lamb into the mix, they maybe could have been battling along with Aussie Taylor. We would have loved to have seen where he would have come at the end of it, starting from last place, where we saw Green come from last place last time out at the high-speed ring 150, came through from last place to take victory, a very famous victory in the Trackstars TS2 touring cars. But I don't know, I'm not so sure about Dallitz. He's running out of time here. He's got lap traffic to deal with, the same lap traffic that Curry had to deal with 3 laps ago. He might have to suffer the same fate because they're coming up towards the same starting point of the section here. But it looks like Doc's going to let him go nice and early. That's really good there. Curry's lost some time on that last lap as well. He's dropped down as well. It looks like he had to pass one of the drivers there. Let's see if our broadcaster can get a replay of what happened there, because he definitely lost time to Hedges going into turn 1.
It was probably the last corner because he was less than a tenth on his PB, so coming through the chase section it may have been like that area there, because he did do a 54.2, so it's probably the end of lap 31 that happened. So but yeah, Jarman didn't get past Severi there, so wonder if Severi will let him past. No, unfortunately he won't. So I would have let him pass there, but now Jarman's just really kind of got to stick behind. It's not safe to do so, and you know, if an unsafe overtake happens here on a lapped car,
he's desperate to try and make a pass on Severi, and Severi is not able to let him go. It's so tricky to get it right, and look at the gap, look at the time going up between Curry and Dallitz. That just skyrocketed up from 8.2. Now it's up to 10 seconds. This is really hurting Dallitz. Severi finally gives way, but does he lose out to Gordock right behind there? Gordock is right behind in that car 100. Loses a little bit of traction on the exit of Forest Elbow. He's still 0.3 behind the CP driver in car 115. Yeah, it's very close. I mean, you do have to feel bad for Dallas, but Severi, literally, he had nowhere to go. Like, I think it's so fast in these GT 500 cars. If our viewers haven't really driven this car before, it is absolutely hard to get this car to slow down, because the cars are traveling at a fast rate that a slight touch of the brake and you don't react quickly, it can cause some carnage. And we did see that at high speed ring, I believe, was in the TS2 and the TS3 race, where you just a little slight touch of the brake, the driver behind doesn't react, and it just causes carnage.
Yeah, well, you know, they're probably on par with the speed or power of a GT3, if not a little bit more. But they have a lot more aerodynamics, so they can take cornering a lot faster than what a GT3 car can. So, over the top, these cars are considerably faster. So, yeah, as you said, it's too hard. But the other thing is, Severi there, if he tries to get out of the way, he'll then hinder himself in his battle with Doc. So it's the old thing, you know, lapped cars, faster cars, that all kind of stuff. But, you know, as you said, Bathurst, it's a one line pretty much from turn 2 all the way to turn 18, 19. It's all pretty much just one-way traffic. So there's 2 spots, if not 3, where Severy let Jarman pass is probably was the safest point. If not, it was the S's to straight line the S's. But at the same
Straight
time,
liner.
the re-entry there could have been dangerous in the way of Doc coming through. So, you know, when you're racing at the time, you kind of got to think to yourself, okay, well, I'm here on the track. Where can I let the driver past? Where Severy did it, I personally think it was the safest spot to do so. Yes, it hindered Jarman, but at the same time, Jarman did, and he was patient. He didn't push past Severy, which was good. So, you know, it was respectable racing. You know, it lost out time to Jarman, but look, not much you can do there. Fair play, fair call. It's one of those. It is what it is. But in saying that, Jarman has actually got a little bit of time back to Curry. I think he got a bit of maybe a lap traffic. There is a car in between them. Let me try and find it. Hedges. So I think, you know, something may have happened with Curry on that last lap, but yeah, he did lose a bit of time there. As Mason pulls over to the left, he will let him on. So Mason saying that he'll stay to the left with his blinker on, which is good. But yeah, we know as obviously drivers passing, we do appreciate when drivers do say, you know, I'm staying this side, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, it's the old way of endurance racing. With passing cars and stuff like that. So, but you know, hats off at the moment. I think probably the biggest moment as well that Curry's had so far was coming up towards his teammate in Breeder. But I think that was just a really unfortunate one. Breeder got out of the way, slowed down, hit the grass. Look, it's the old way of the thing. Don't brake on the grass, otherwise your car's pretty much gone sent for 6. So, unfortunate, but yeah, it's one of those, it is what it is, racing kind of things. But yeah, you know, stewards look at that one and give their verdict. But Green, 4 seconds to Sandwith. So this will give him some extra points there to Sandwith on his run to the charge. But Aussie Taylor sitting comfy in P5 and Kentwell P6 as well. So they've just been putting in some decent laps too. So I'm quite impressed with Aussie Taylor and Kentwell, especially Kentwell's first showing up here in TS2.
Yeah, and obviously if he keeps it that way, I think once we get all the results done, he'll definitely be able to keep. He might be able to keep his spot in the top split of TS2, because with a solid performance like P6, you've got your championship contenders up inside the top 5. He could definitely earn his way back into top split next time out, and it'll be an amazing achievement for the RoboSport racing driver. As I said earlier in the broadcast, RoboSport Racing's final outing as a team here at Trackstars Racing Series will be rebranded with Craig Harcourt's team in RN Racing. So we get rid of the S and we replace the S with the R. So with the N, that will bring out RN Racing, led by Craig Harcourt, who's running in the main series in car 22 in the Trackstars Touring Cars Championship. And in this endurance season, running alongside Chris Burke and Stavros Magpie, who had a great performance, finished out in P8 last time at Kyoto 500. So it'll be interesting. Can't wait to see how he performs in the main series in the Enduros for the Bathurst 1000 in 2 weeks' time. So very interested to see how RN Racing develops their team and brings their team into 2024. Obviously, with the likes of Curry and Harcourt maybe being the leaders of the team. We've definitely seen drivers like Ward is another leader with his great performance at Kyoto, and throughout his whole debut season in the Touring Cars Championship, he's putting on some great performances, as we see Van Ruin make a mistake here. Did he go just too deep? Just too much throttle, unfortunately. I think he caught a little bit of that inside curbing there. It's just maybe the car just didn't like the way it reacted at all.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done that a few times here. It just lifts up that right side there. Just puts a lot of power there, and just that's all she wrote, and it sends you around. But who's passing him? Green. So Green's on the way to passing there. But Sandwith has dropped to 6.8. So I think something may have happened here to him, but still solid performance. Obviously, 56 there.
Solid performance for the championship leader. His contenders are not really in it. I think the next worthy contender is Aussie Taylor, and Aussie Taylor is only 1 position behind him. And if I'm looking back through my point scoring system, if results stay as they are, Sandwith is going to finish on 240 points. And Aussie Taylor will be finishing up with 234, so he's only lost 6 points to Sandwith in this race. So that's still a pretty good result there for Aussie Taylor.
Yeah, it's still good performance there. Ooh, what's happened here? Missed it. What happened? Not too sure what happened there, but it looks like something may have happened between Mason and Dallas, which is a bit unfortunate. But Hedge is really sketchy there on the edge of the turn 2. But Green passing Severy, I think it was, no, Van Vuren there for lap traffic. But Sandwith dropping back now, 7.4 here, ladies and gentlemen. 4.5 laps to go here at Bathurst for their Bathurst 250. Second of the Enduros. They will have one more at St. Croix. So, unfortunately, at the moment, doesn't look like Green's going to take it. So as long as Curry can kind of keep it on track, he's done it to 16 seconds. So wow, that's a massive gap.
Yeah. Well, obviously, as you said, something came out of something was said, something incident between Dallas and one of the lapped cars that's cost him a lot of time. So I think Dallas has just really thrown in the towel, throwing the white flag up. He's going to consolidate P2. But I think, to be honest, when he took the lead, I think that should have been the time that he needed to react. I think he just needed to react as quickly as he could. Just once Curry pitted, you pit the next lap, because you just need to keep track position. And as much as you want to keep track position and run clean air, you run the risk of making mistakes. And one of his laps, he said a 2:02, well, a time well over 2 minutes, and you lose 10 seconds out of it, and you're sitting now, what, 16 seconds behind the race leader, Mitch Curry. So it's hard. I can understand what Dallas' strategy was, but I think with such a close gap, such a close time difference between both Curry and Dallas, pretty much trading fastest lap times, you have to follow, you have to react within the next lap or the lap after. You can't wait. You cannot wait it out, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. You can't. You have to pit. It's just whether it be either the next lap or the lap after, you got to go. But unfortunately, yep, I think you just left it too long. But yeah, unfortunate there. But Curry was just over a 10th purple through the first sector. So I just jumped on board, see if he can kind of keep it clean here. He's well purple.
It'd be good to stay on board with Mitch Curry, the leader of this Bathurst 250, and the Robo Sport Racer coming through down through Forest Elbow on lap 37 of 40. So let's stay tuned, let's stay on board as he completes this lap here at Mount Panorama. Oh, just only gets the 52 fastest lap of the race there, but two crucial mistakes on that lap there, Ryan. I don't know if you picked it up on it, but he definitely made a few mistakes coming down on into the entry of Forest Elbow and the final corner.
Yes, and he was a little bit sketchy on the exit of the elbow too. Got a little bit squirrely, so lost a bit of time, but he still went purple. So yeah, he lost on nearly onwards of 3.5 tenths through that last sector. So last two sectors, sorry. So yeah, pretty considerable mistake there, but he doesn't really need to push. He can just set consistent laps. Doesn't need to go full 100% push mode. He can just settle in and just manage the gap, because 17.4 seconds. I don't think anyone would be closing that gap down.
Sorry to interrupt there, but Curry's lapping all the way up to Cantwell in P6. This is the pace that Mitch Curry is setting is absolutely incredible. He's lapped all drivers up to position 6. Wow. That's a real statement there for next year in the Trackstars Touring Cars Championship.
Yeah, and you can see here Cantwell's got his blinker on. He spots Curry and he's going to let him go before he hits the kink. So big ups there to Cantwell. I do believe they are ex Robo Sport Racing teammates, I think.
No, they still are. I think how it works is Cantwell loves to make his own liveries, as you see there on the rear
Okay.
windscreen. You can see the
Yep.
RoboSport Racing entry, but he just makes his own liveries, still running under the RoboSport banner.
Okay.
Is
Yep.
Cantwell.
Yep. Yeah. So they are teammates, and Kentwell spotted him, and he's thought, I'm not going to hinder your race. You've caught the back of me now. I'll just pull to the left-hand side and let him pass. So, big respect there between those two, and obviously in the midst of that, oh, Kentwell.
Oh, doesn't actually let him through. Actually,
Okay.
making it a bit tricky for Curry.
I would have just let
Okay.
off there or tapped on the brake or something, just let him pass into the braking zone.
He's got no challenges. Does Kenwell? He's only got Purton right behind there in P7. Hedges has actually gone through up into P8. Severi into 9th. Gordock rounding up the top 10. So Mason, I believe, was running 8th place at one point. He made a mistake on a couple of his laps. The 2:06, 2:05. So really unfortunate mistake. Him finishing outside the top 10 in this race after what could have been a good positioning for the Kiwi pit lane driver. His teammate and Van Vuren in 12th place. We caught him a few laps ago facing the wrong direction up Griffin's Bend, and then we have the returning of the Belgian driver in Devlin Calypso 13th, and Breeder, unfortunately, just his days are just not getting any better from bad to worse. A 2:10 there, and just not really liking this car around this track at all is the man from Holland in the car 69, unfortunately taking out his teammate. Unfortunately, just braking the car, applying the brakes on the grass there, just not what you want to do. And unfortunately, it hindered his teammate. And yeah, just down in 14th place with Lamb as the only retirement in this race. But we are coming up towards the last lap, only a lap and a quarter of this race to go. And it's been an eventful one here, Ryan. And a lot of talking points coming towards the end of the stream here. But I think you have to say it's been between both Curry and Dallas. But the man that we would have said would have kept it on the track did have an adventure. But the man that I think that probably could have taken this race cost himself big time, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. As we see Curry coming around the last corner there into turn 1 here for the final lap here of the Bathurst 250. Yeah, Jarman could have played that to perfection there. Obviously, Curry did get impeded by a bit of lap traffic there. Could have played it into his hands, but unfortunately, looks to me like he did run a little bit too long. But maybe that's his a little bit of inexperience this year into the enduros and stuff, obviously, because we haven't seen Jarman race full time for what would be 2 years. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. But the other thing is we had a battle here going between Green and Sandwith for what was onwards nearly a 22 laps. So, but yeah, they were doing pretty well there. But Curry, last time through the grate, everyone's waving to him up the top there, waving the RSR flags here at Bathurst. Yeah, it's been a good hour and 15 at the moment. Really, Curry hasn't kind of put a foot wrong, except for I don't think he has. I think he's just kind of been impeded.
Well, he didn't make the mistake. He didn't put the foot wrong when he got the accident. He was just wrong place, wrong time. Unfortunately,
exactly. So yeah, really, Curry hasn't done anything wrong. You know, qualified pole and was just unfortunate there when he did get hit by Breeder. So, you know, he ran off. I think he ran off at one point, but other than that, he didn't. Yeah, as I said, hasn't done anything wrong, and consistency plays off here, and he's about to come through for the win here. But the last time through the chase here, onwards of nearly 300 Ks there. But yeah, good race there by Curry, and hats off, mate.
So the man that was denied victory at the high-speed ring 150, losing it out on fuel numbers, is running low on fuel, but as he comes through Murray's corner, he's got plenty of fuel. He's going to gas it up and get car 43 into victory lane here for the Bathurst 250. The win goes to Mitch Curry for RoboSport Racing. Congratulations to the man in car 43. A solid drive, lights to flag victory for Mitch Curry, lapping all the way up to Kentwell in P6. Jarman Dallitz in position 2 in car 95. A nice return. That's a good return for him onto the podium positions after he backed it up at the high speed ring 115. And Green, the victor last time out at high speed ring 150, had a mammoth battle with Sandwith throughout the whole of the Bathurst 250. Will round coming up towards the final corner to pick up position 3. Well done to the CP Motorsports rider, keeping that consistency and moving himself up in the championship standings as well. Inside the top 5 has Green for CP Motorsports. So well done to car 232, and Sandwith, the championship leader, extends his championship lead, but only by 6 points over Aussie Taylor. In 4th place, rounds Sandwith, and Aussie Taylor rounding up the rear in 5th place for WTC Racing. So well done to all of the drivers here tonight. 14 drivers completing the Bathurst 250. A couple of drivers a couple of laps down, a lap down, and not completing the full 250 kilometers. But for those that finished inside the top 5, absolute domination within that top 5.
Yeah, that absolute, as you said, absolute domination and good running there. Aussie 131. He was only 20 seconds or so behind Curry, but yeah, unfortunate for the drivers to be lapped, but that's the way racing goes. But dominant performance there by Curry, and hats off to him, mate. You get our Monopoly money for that one. And yeah, as always, he's putting tribute out there to Ken Block, and he's a big one there for the mental health matters there. With the obviously make sure your friends are okay. So, but yeah, big ups and big win there to Curry.
Absolutely, and you could just see there the lap times that both Curry and Dallas are setting 1 minute 52.8. But what I did notice there that Dallas wasn't actually setting any lap times in the 52s after he came out of the pit lane. So I don't know. It's something to question himself. He might have to question himself, thinking, did I do the wrong strategy? Was this not my race that I could have taken victory? This was the race I could have taken victory, but what happened there? And he's going to have a long debrief with his team engineers. But as we round up the stream here, and we will have a bit of a break, and I'll be back myself to do some TS3 touring cars post-stream events of the Bathurst Sprint for the TS3 touring cars. Before we go, and before we let our lovely streamer and our legendary streamer in Ryan Palmer, who is going to be your driver of the day here for the Bathurst 250? There's a lot of names there, probably not very well spaced out between the top 5, but maybe could be someone down the order. What do you think?
I'm gonna go with my gut there, and yeah, I'm gonna go with someone down the order. I'm gonna go with Kent Wells. So down there in P6, obviously didn't get a high up inside the P5, but he put in some solid laps, and first run out, and I think that grants him automatic entry into the next round too. So he's currently the highest. Actually, so it'll be Dallas, Kentwell, and Purden will be one of the 3 in the auto entry. So yeah, it's definitely he impressed me that race, obviously, except for the turn 1 shenanigans that he was having with Curry there. Maybe it might have been just an inter-team love tap or something like that. But yeah, he definitely impressed me there.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say the exact same thing. So even though as much as I want to give it to Curry, unfortunately, he just had a little bit of a mistake there. A bit of an unfortunate incident with his teammate in Breeder, just ruining him from a clean race bonus next to his name, unfortunately. So the man that goes lights to flag, I'm going to give it to his teammate in Cantwell as well. So great performance there. The best result we've seen from Bryce Cantwell in car 72 for Robo Sport Racing, getting himself automatic entry into round 10 of the Trackstars TS2 touring cars.
Yeah, that was a.
So that is it.
You right? You go.
No, I was just gonna say that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Bathurst 250. I'm pretty sure my commentator in Ryan Palmer really enjoyed himself because it is his home track, and it holds some good memories and fun times for him. And yourself, you're heading off to Mount Panorama
tomorrow.
As of tomorrow. So. Yep. Mm-hmm. Any of the Trackstar Racing Series members that want to come say hi, you can say hi to Ryan Palmer. I'll be there as well on Thursday. So want to get an autograph, want to get some photos from your favorite commentators, let us know, and we'll sign you something. We might even give you some stickers. So who knows?
Yeah, but no, that was fun. That was good to comms there. But unfortunately for me, I've got to run down now and to grab some dinner and feed my face. So, but yeah, no, that was fun. That was a good call. Bathurst always brings the spiciness, which is what it's done. So yeah, that was a fantastic race, and as always, thank you for joining me. And unfortunately, I'm not be joining you for TS3 because the NRL Grand Final's on, but we will be back for Bathurst in 2 weeks' time for main series. So, but yeah, that was enjoyable. I like that one.
Absolutely. So on behalf of myself, Nick Patasso, and Ryan Palmer, thank you so much for tuning in for the Bathurst 250. Big congratulations to Car 43 in Mitch Curry, Jarman Dalitz, and Green joining us here and on the podium for what has been an awesome event. 40 laps around Mount Panorama. Next time out, we go 161 laps in 2 weeks' time. Who will take out the victory for the Trackstars Racing Series Touring Cars Championship for the Bathurst 1000? Tune in 2 weeks' time for then. But for now,